Test mic 2.
Okay, half a day, everybody. Good afternoon. Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Guam Ethics Commission. It is Thursday, July 25th, 2024 at 12:41 p.m. Director, can I ask you to call roll, please?
Sure, we'll start with the chairman, Christopher Cruz,
Present.
Vice Chairwoman Margaret Takenko. Commissioner Marilyn Borja is absent. Commissioner Dr. Robert Jack informed that he will be arriving later. Commissioner Daphne Leon Guerrero.
Present.
And I believe, Mr. Chair, in accordance with open government law, we did receive a request for virtual attendance from Commissioner Leon Guerrero, which is recorded and will be attached to today's agenda minutes. And then Commissioner Shannon Murphy.
Present.
Mr. Chair, with 4 members present, we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Director. Can we go ahead and move right into the approval of the minutes? We'll give a brief moment for the commissioners to look that over before I ask for a motion.
And while we're doing that review, Mr. Chair, if I may ask a motion to excuse members not present at today's meeting.
Understood. Can I get a motion to excuse members not present?
I'll make the motion to excuse members not present. I'll second the motion.
Perfect. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of excusing members not present? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Director, motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
You got this. Motion. I'll give a motion to approve the minutes for last month's meeting. I second that.
Okay, any further discussion on the approval for our minutes for our June 14, 2024 meeting? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 3 of our agenda is your report, Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to the commissioners, I have a few updates to share. I'll begin with a conversation regarding our IT security enhancements. So this is a continuation of the briefing provided during the June meeting. We met with OTEC, and OTEC recommended that the commission migrate its current website from a .com domain to a .gov or .gov. This change is expected to provide additional security benefits and align our digital presence with government standards. So staff have already initiated communications with the current web host, and they are working diligently to providing for that transition and have provided us with a timeline. I believe 2 weeks will be the amount of time required for us to finalize that conversion. So our new website domain that we will begin promoting once the transition has completed is ethics.guam.gov. And then that'll also make us uniform with other entities across the government of Guam. The next is a community presentation on ethics. So to expand the engagement of the commission beyond government offices, I received and accepted a speaking invitation with the Guam Coalition Against Sexual Assault and Family Violence, a local nonprofit. The first session was held on July 19th before their board of directors and employees, and the second session is scheduled for August with their government partners, with an anticipated attendance of about 250 persons. So I think that it would benefit and further support the mission of the commission to be able to engage the community alike with the government about our functions and how to stay ethical within our roles. The next
Thanks,
item,
Director. If the invitation for us to attend, for example, this workshop or seminar is there, then just let us know.
of course, we'll
Yeah,
do. I'll
happy to
share.
support you and the rest of our team on that. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you so much, Mr. Chair. To continue, we do have updates regarding University of Guam student internships. So the team met with Mr. Ron Van Don, who is a career advising specialist with the University of Guam, to discuss the possibility of the commission being offered as a potential employer for student internships, which I felt was an opportunity for us to accept. They do allow for the commission to serve as a sort of non-paid or unpaid internship, but they are encouraging the commission to consider offering compensation for those internship opportunities. We are also aware that there's a potential for us to make those internship opportunities where they can obtain college credit in order to fulfill their program requirements, but that will require a little more documentation. So at this point, we're just exploring. We think it wouldn't hurt. I think the challenge that we'll find after we announce ourselves as a potential employer is balancing that most of the work that we do remains highly confidential. So it would be finding functions within the office that they would have abilities to engage and work on without exceeding sort of the limits of their internship. But if you have suggestions or would like us to present something more formal, we can at a subsequent meeting once we see that there are interested students that want to do the internship, then we can approach the commission to see if there are means within the existing budget levels to support a paid internship. Moving on to, sure.
I just wanted to ask, would these be like students with what would their major be? Government or administration?
Typically, if we want to offer college credit, then it would align with a public administration program or
Yeah.
criminal justice degree program. The way it was presented by Mr. Van Don is that students from all disciplines would be able to pursue an internship with the office because it's for the experience and not may not necessarily align with their program requirements to graduate.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you too. The next update is on the Department of Ethics, the Department of Education's ethics training. So we made significant progress to ensure that officials within GDOE comply with the ethics in government program. So we reported 650 GDOE participants had completed training previously. I think it was actually in May, so I'm going to have to make that correction on my report. And then we further met with Dr. Bobby Adamos, who is the Deputy Superintendent for GDOE, and we're excited to announce what is anticipated to be our largest ethics training workshop on August 5th, with over 2,500 participants confirmed. So GDOE has secured the field house. It is the first teacher workday, and everyone is required to attend. And we are the afternoon session. So we've confirmed Attorney Vince Camacho will be presenting to the masses, and that will help us reach, I think, a milestone with getting them compliant.
Is that, what percentage of GDOE is that, Director, if you know, at the top of your head? It looks significant.
It is significant. I think it reaches 20% of the total government workforce we will be able to handle within one day.
Wow, okay, great.
Is that going to be like for teachers and principals or all kinds of staff?
I believe they're primarily school officials, as they're required, but there are officials that work at Central that have been invited to also attend. We'll know based on the sign-in sheets where the respective schools or offices the employees belong to, and it will take us some time to reconcile 2,500 names and signatures, but overall, I think it was a significant step for the office to secure, and I really want to acknowledge Ruben and Ariel were given that assignment to get GDOE over the threshold, and so um, despite what I would have expected, some hesitation or fear, they took it head on, and now we're here, and we're gonna see that completed. So thank you to you
So,
both.
so sorry, my question was what percentage of the entire GDOE force this 2,500 is representing? Is most of GDOE?
It is, it is. Since
Yeah.
we've already did 650, I think this would make up about 98, 99%
Oh,
of their
perfect.
workforce.
Okay, good, very good. All right, awesome. Well, all the best on August 5th at the field house. I think I might just come there just to see it.
Uh, we encourage you to find transportation to get dropped there, because yeah, I imagine the parking is going to be.
You're going to have to make it pretty interesting to keep the attention of that many people.
Yeah.
But this is good. So,
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes, yes. All right.
That's good. I mean, just kudos, you know, for finding that space within that teacher workday or whatever it's called. I think that's pretty critical because I imagine once the school year started, right, that we'd be back to square one with, you know, struggling to get this done, right? So yeah, good job.
And admittingly, the conversation started in April because Dr. Adamos attended our workshop when she was first appointed in the deputy position. And we, we're trying to bridge a possibility to muster a workshop with them before the end of the school year, but it wasn't possible. I think they had enough teacher work days committed for other professional development, and it eventually got moved to the start of the new year. I was shared a message from the superintendent in announcing this milestone. I think he led with, it was said that this couldn't be done. So here's to us trying to accomplish this. So, which we have continuing discussion, I think, under old business because there's other matters that I think we need to address. Next is on the recruitment for an administrative assistant. So I'd like to formally request the concurrence of the commission to initiate the recruitment process for a permanent full-time administrative assistant. This position is currently filled under a limited term appointment and is not sustainable for our long-term operational needs. So to ensure that continuity and bolster our administrative capacities, I'm proposing that we open the search for a permanent placement. And given the sensitive nature of the commission's work, I find it important that the candidate possessed a demonstrated experience in managing confidential records and other sensitive information. Therefore, I recommend including a selective factor in the job posting, specifically that applicants should have, quote unquote, experience maintaining proper control when handling confidential records or other sensitive information. And based on Guam law, it's concurrence with the commission if you support me making the procedures to announcing this rule. Sure, as long as there's no objection, you can state your support for that just on the record through your voice, through your comments. If you wish to ask questions, this is also the opportunity to do so.
I support the need for a full-time admin assistant.
who's doing it now?
Our Ariel is currently, but she would need to compete, correct? So she would apply and be rated. If she's rated eligible, then we would receive list of the top applicants to interview.
Okay, any objections by the commissioners? on the support for a full-time admin assistant. Hey, Director, you have our support.
And this is to include the selective factor statement as mentioned.
That included.
Okay, thank you, commissioners. The next one is an exciting announcement. So I received earlier this month the formal invitation to participate and present at this year's annual COGO conference. The workshop will fall within the ethics track and is entitled The Small But Mighty Strategies for Success for the Small Government Agency. We plan a working group meeting with other panelists that were selected on August 8th. Moving on to budget reconciliation. So there remains challenges in reconciling budget accounts since we've migrated from the legacy AS400 to the new financial management information system. I'm seeing a theme as this is a recurring element of the director's report, and the latest issue that arose was discrepancies between what was reflected on the FMIS system. So as of today, when I look into the accounts, the system reflects that we have a balance available of $99,000 as an example for our general appropriation account. But then when reviewing what is published every month, the consolidated revenue and expenditure report, part of that report includes a breakdown of the appropriation level, expenditure level, and available balance level for every agency on a month-to-month basis. So the latest report that was published in July was for June, and that latest report showed our available balance at 70,000. So I could not understand how the system's reflecting $99,000, yet the published report that is produced by BBMR, DOA, and Rev and Tax says that our balance as of June 30th was only 70,000. And then there were payroll expenses that we had to encumber within the month of July. So I imagine even that 70,000 would be less than what it is. So I'm going to elevate this conversation to the deputy financial manager at DOA to ask where DOA receives that data set and how they extrapolate that to produce the combined report, and why that's not reflective correctly on our own accounts, which we have access to online. I think that has contributed to why we were seeing a large amount that I had requested the commission to reallocate to other spending categories. And then the subsequent meeting in June, as you recall, I was asking to institute a reserve amount because I wasn't sure what was the real number. And so my goal is by the August meeting, if we're able to meet, that we would be able to settle that and get a firm number. But we have internal records to account for when we encumber or expend any amounts. Where we are having difficulty is tracking our employee expenses, our payroll expenses. And the reason for that is, like for Pam and Ruben, they had recently received their annual performance evaluation, so that adjusted their annual rates, and then also has an adjustment on the benefits. And the benefits is a ratio base. So, on average, I could say 45%, but we need a true number in order for me to estimate if there are 6 pay periods left for the remainder of the fiscal year, and we spend X amount per pay period, what levels are we operating at? Do I need to migrate payroll to another fund account, or is there sufficient funds that exist in our operational funds? So I hope to clear that up and then present to the commission. So for the most part, we've held off on most spending, except for spending that is critical to the function of the commission. So we awarded the ethics trainer contracts, our conflict counsel contract. These are critical contracts to us, and everything else is just on hold until we can reconcile. The challenge, of course, is if I reconcile in August, we really have just a month to spend these resources before the end of the fiscal year. And no, it doesn't roll over, right? That would require legislation for us to have that authorization. So I know we've had a track record of spending the resources that we received, up to the dollar or a few cents, maybe under, but this has been a challenging year simply because of the new system migration, you know. But if there are questions, I'm happy to provide that for you regarding the budget.
Heard in the news and stuff that we're not the only ones. It's a lot of agencies, or probably all of the agencies, right, that are going through problems with this.
It is, and I think every director has taken a different approach. Some might, you know, unfortunately, what we've seen, some department and agencies continue to spend based on what's reflected on the system, despite, this inkling that the system might not be reflecting correctly. Now, I'm trying to avoid an overdraft of what was appropriated to us, and I'd rather that there be funds returned because we underspent than to overspend, and I'm not sure how we reconcile that. But yes, I can sense that this is going to be a larger government issue. I can't speak for how other departments and agencies are handling it. To the commission's benefit, we have 3 accounts. So 3 is a lot more manageable than, X number of accounts that some of these larger agencies have. And these 3 accounts are relatively small amounts that we can track. We're not dealing with millions here. So,
Yeah, Director, just so I understand, and maybe for the benefit of the commissioners as well, so we have access to view our accounts online on the management system, the GovGuam management system.
correct.
Um, Then we get a report periodically, maybe monthly, that shows us balances, for example.
Yes, in
Right.
summary. And,
In
and,
summary.
and that report actually is generated by the 3 finance agencies to the legislature. So I'm only pulling public records that are available to the public in order to compare and contrast what information I'm reading on our own data system. So what they publish on the record to the legislature is what I reference with the numbers I'm seeing in our own Access account.
Right,
So the Access account is a larger number than what
Yeah.
was published to the
right.
legislature.
And prior to the migration from the AS400 to this new system, we didn't have an issue kind of matching those two together, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I think there were occasions, and because the system was so old on AS400, there were occasions where, you went to bed with $200,000, you woke up with $2 million. That's not really there, but those instances happen, and that's what forced us to, what I imagine, what forced the government to pursue a new financial management system. If there is a silver lining, and one area I do want to highlight is, Director Edward Byrne and his staff at the accounting division and accounts division have been very, very good and responsive at getting us reports and sharing with us who we can connect with in order to reconcile the issues. So I do want to acknowledge, at least for that, and the training opportunities too. When they launched this, they understood that there are going to be challenges, and there are going to be things that we discover along the way through practice. But despite that, they've also implemented very helpful resources online that if we were confused on how to access a specific screen, we knew automatically on the legacy system. Then they had a tutorial that we could watch a video or we could read the manual to find where exactly we would find identical information but on the new software.
Okay, great. Just continue to make payroll, please, and keep our commission. Keep the critical expenses paid, and then keep track of it, I guess, manually for the time being until things get straightened out. It sounds, obviously we're not the only ones in this boat, so. Yeah, I understand it's been a struggle, and you've reported, like you said, multiple times on this. There's, we can, thank you for continuing to bring it up. We hope that there's some kind of, resolution to this. And I'm sure there will be. It's just a matter of time, right? So, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and will do. Above all else, since it is the Ethics Commission that should have the highest level of ethics, best that we don't spend more than what was appropriated to us. Yes. But thank you, commissioners. And then to conclude my report, I just wanted to share with you the ethics training update for the months of May, June, and July. So in May, in addition to what was previously announced through GDOE, the 650, the total for live and online workshops, we received 1,349 completions. So that brought us to the lion's share of those completed, and we'll give you that in detail in the next agenda item. That's why June and July have 248 and 158 participants completed respectively, because we're really dwindling down how many employees are left that need to get this training. Yes. And then we'll pick up in 2026 everyone that got training in 2022, which will be a big chunk, because this was about the time the commission first started it, will be due for recertification, and we'll be approaching them for that.
I just wanted to ask that, so that second training then, is that going to be a little different, more in depth maybe, or, I mean, or just a refresher? What were you guys thinking?
Yes, that's a great question. We are aiming for an altered workshop experience, and that will require us to work with our instructors. And then, of course, you've seen in the budget request adopted in January that we've embedded enhancements to our media campaign. So we plan to use those resources, if appropriated, to enhance and refresh the ethics training online on our website.
All right. Thank you, Director. Any further comments or questions from any remaining commissioner? Okay. Where are we? I think we still have 4 commissioners on in the meeting, right, Director?
That's correct, Mr. Chair. So if I may, just to table item 4, closed proceedings, we require 5 members to be present in order for the commission to hear and entertain matters related to ethics complaints. So in lieu of the absence of quorum, that we just table item 4.
Can I get a motion to table item 4 of our agenda?
Motion to a table, item number
Second.
4 for now.
I second that.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay.
Dr. Jack might be here, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Director, our item 4 is hereby tabled. Thank you. Moving on, item number 5, unfinished business. Director, you want to take us through that?
Of course. And I will also pass this opportunity to Ruben, who will be discussing in detail the update. So, in summary, the commission at its April meeting approved for a waiver of the ethics training fee for up to 3,000 participants, or till the end of the fiscal year, whichever occurs first. We've reached our capacity at 3,000 participants already. So, we want to share with you first a breakdown of each agency's level of compliance, and then we'll open the conversation up for next steps with the commission. So, Ruben, to you.
Got it. Thank you, Director. So if we could turn to the slides, there you go, on your packet. So the first few are just introduction about the Ethics in Government Workshop, what public law made it requirement for all government of Guam employees to take it. And then our training methods, which we now have 3, the live Zoom workshops, the live in-person workshops, and then the online training module through the website. And since then, we've had 41 100% compliant with Board GCA 15409. A list is there for you to view, commissioners. If you could flip to the next slide. There we go. So as you can see there, these are the list of agencies that have gone through the training. Employees have completed it. 41 agencies. If you have any questions, we can go through it, but I'm not going to read out all 41 unless you want me to. Okay, got it. And then the second section, these are pending compliance with 4 GCA 1549, but these we have anticipated completion dates, which hopefully by August will be completed. Um, as you can see, some are only 2, 3, 4. These are easily not individuals that can easily comply. And then after that, we have the one agency that's pending compliance without an anticipation completion date. We've sent them multiple emails, calls, follow-ups to remind them of ethics training. However, they have not entertained a request until.
Yeah, I guess since it's being brought up. So the agency you see in red was the one agency that there was no communication with or engagement until this morning, right before the board meeting. So we probably have someone leaking information from this office because the official reached out and inquired as to how to get the rest of their department through compliance. I don't think there is a leak in the office. What ended up happening was in an official was previously at a different department or agency that is 100% compliant, entered this new department and found that they were unaware of the mandate or compliance, and so was taking initiative to get the whole department through. So that one agency in the red font is actually going to be placed on the category with the other groups as they're now making steps to become compliant.
Got it. So the last slide will just be a summary. Uh, there we go. So pending the one agency of 142 individuals, the commissioner by August with the completion of GDOE and those that are pending that are not in red, we would have had trained 98.8% of the entire GovCon workforce or 12,026. And now with the recent communication from that agency, we're hoping to get the 142 compliant as well by August and hopefully by the end of fiscal year if it goes that far.
Congratulations. That's amazing. To get that done? I mean, my God, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, commissioners, and thank you to Ruben for articulating this. So as you see, there are going to be, I think we can acknowledge roughly 40, perhaps 41 entities that have been fully compliant by the deadline that will qualify for the honorarium that we're preparing. And we'll share updates at the August meeting as to the progress with that regard. And everyone else is on track to full compliance. And I'm very pleased to see single digits for most of these agencies. So that's really, really easy for us to get them completed. Everyone else, we have strong communication with, and they're working with us every day to get them either through the online workshop or in person. But yes, absolutely, I do want to commend the team for working just as hard as the expectation has been on us to reaching that 98.8% of persons trained. And we're very pleased that we have something to be proud about in sharing with the public and sharing with our policymakers the level of success this commission is having, despite the limited workforce that we are. You know, we are a small but mighty team of 4 getting this done, plus 2 lawyers.
Yeah, kudos. Well done.
So the next conversation that I have, and in order to achieve this, it really helped having the commission's support in waiving said fee for the 3,000 participants. How 3,000 came about was we took the average participant number for the last 2 years, and then we anticipated that we would meet a similar number this year. Well, we've already satisfied the 3,000, and now we have close to another 3,000 that are due for training. and that will be in part GDOE taking the lion's share. I have to ask the Commission two questions. One, which I hope to answer today, is what is the desire of the Commission for all participants who register and complete the training beyond the initial 3,000 cap? The Commission has the option to extend and waive the fee for the remainder of the fiscal year if it wishes. I can report we have sufficient resources today to meet that unmet need that we previously stated. Or we can reinstate the fee and apply that to every official that undergoes training post the cap.
I believe we had this discussion already. Wasn't there something about people who have already paid versus those who don't? So as far as creating a behavior of, well, let's just wait and be at the end and get waived in the future?
We did have that conversation, and to share insight as to why there was a fee to begin with. The Commission always provided the governor and the legislature what it requires to fully fund the operation and meet its statutory obligations. That request and the levels that we presented in fiscal years 2021, 22, and 23 were below what was requested, and in part because the government was having to deal with competing interests. There was a finite amount of resources, and it couldn't fully fund any agency, let alone, our agency. We didn't receive that level of support. So to make up for that, and to also provide some skin in the game, the Commission developed this training fee as a way to make up for the operational shortfall, while at the same time holding employees accountable that this is a paid workshop that they should appreciate and pay attention to. We fast forward to fiscal year 2024 budget discussions, and the Commission had in fact requested $531,080 and received that amount in appropriations that year. Hence, the request was made for the Commission to consider waiving the fee because we weren't seeking to profit from the training. We were only looking to meet the shortfall, meeting all our other operational obligations. So we anticipated 3,000. We exceeded that, and so the question now comes back to us if the Commission desires to waive that fee. You waiving that fee will obviously help support the continuation of registration and completions from these agencies. And it is also dependent heavily on whether we can continue to sustain the level of support we're getting from the legislature and the governor's office. If we can see the Commission's budget requests fully funded, then we can expect that fee continue to be waived because there would not be a need or dependence on the revenue income.
So when will we know if our budget request is fully funded for this coming year?
We saw the governor's request provide a status quo budget level, and that's because this commission is autonomous and its budget request is adopted on its own and transmitted directly to the legislature. So we won't know until post-August as to what was the final level the legislature has adopted for the commission in the fiscal year beginning October 2024.
Was your request or our request higher than what the governor submitted?
What was passed in January, it was by 4%. And was, I think, achievable considering what has been, I suppose, common knowledge now. The government is doing well financially. Its collections are healthy. And there are a number of agencies that have requested for increases to their appropriation levels, which has seen strong support by policymakers. So 4% was what we termed as organic growth and should be able to be supported. I did not, in our meeting with the chairman and the Office of Finance and Budget, have any indication that that level would not be supported. However, we do have to be cognizant that nothing is finalized until the until the end. Yes, and it's signed into law. I don't suspect that extending this waiver will have any immediate negative impact to the commission meeting and operational expenses. And I do believe that what is waived today, eventually those same officials will come back in 4 years requiring to do a refresher. And at that point in time, you can account for every official we've trained since 2022 will always need to do training 4 years. So we wouldn't necessarily lose an opportunity to reinstate this fee when the need arises, because there will always be officials that require recertification, and the commission can easily adjust its policy to reinstate that fee if the need arises.
And then we're also talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Director, if I'm hearing this right, we're also talking about the continuing to waive a fee for the remainder of the current fiscal year, right? Not the next, for example? Or are we having that conversation simultaneously?
No, it would only be for this fiscal year and all participants that are trained up to September 30, 2024. By September, we should already know what the legislature's number is for the Ethics Commission. And that budget session begins on the 1st of August and concludes before the end of that month. So September we'll have a good idea and we'll present a resolution either for continuation starting October or for to reinstate the fee starting October based on how the number went.
Okay. And to your best understanding, we have sufficient financial means to sustain the commission throughout this current fiscal year,
That's correct.
given the additional fee waiver that we are tasked with deciding now.
That's correct. It's part of what helps us contain the costs, obviously we're billed by the hour for our ethics trainer. So because we're consolidating a large group within a single venue, we're not having to spend for multiple hours of the same billing fee. We can pay, 1 4-hour fee and get through a big mass of individuals. So we're coupling, withholding expenditures, but also maximizing our resources so we're not spending more than what we have available to get that level of success.
I do see what Meg's saying now. It's like we're, kind of encouraging people to wait until the end of the fiscal year where we've already met our quota and they can go for free. So, I mean, if there's another way that you can say all these people who did it early get a credit for their continuing years rather than,
We do.
You
We did.
you did already.
Yeah, we did. We haven't charged this entire fiscal year.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Everyone that, because the commission met and made a decision in April, all officials who were trained within fiscal year 2024 prior to the commission's waiver received a credit.
Okay.
And that credit does not expire. So if, for example, Department of Public Health had 50 individuals trained, so once we exceed and the credit is waived and then later on reinstituted, then the first 50 employees from public health could be waived because they've
They already,
paid in a fiscal year that the commission waived.
I see.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds good.
So if I hear correctly again, you would like us to decide on whether or not to implement or to waive the ethics in government training fee for the remainder of the current fiscal year.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Can I get a motion on that, commissioners?
I make a motion to approve of that action.
To go ahead and waive?
Go ahead and waive the fee for the
Thank
rest
you.
of this fiscal year.
Okay. I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Director, motion carries unanimously. Fees waived for the remainder of the current fiscal year.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the second component of this conversation, which will not be up for action today, but will be presented at the next meeting for the commission, is a consideration of all the aged billables. So we have employees that have undergone the training, but the agencies have yet to remit payment for prior fiscal years, extending up to at least 2022 that we are aware of. And they come at, for various reasons, whether the agency does not have the resources to make the payment. We've done our best. We've worked even with BBMR to get line agencies to pay, and those efforts have been relatively successful, but there remain a handful of agencies and employees that are still in limbo, unable to receive their certificate of completions because we continue to withhold it until such time the payment's received. So what I will present at the next meeting is in detail who these employees are from what agencies and as far back as when were these training dates. And then you can decide your respective action, and that could either be to award the certificate for those unpaid billings or other action, which could mean the employee take the training again while the fee is waived this fiscal year and, sort of leave that off the list.
Because the thing is, we want them to have their certificate, because then in the future, if they are accused of something, they can't say, oh, I didn't know, right? But if they have their certificate, it shows that they do know.
That's an excellent
Right?
point, Commissioner.
Yeah.
I think because the agenda item says review the ethics and government training fee for fiscal year 2024, we found that question might be outside of what we put notice to the public as to what we would discuss. So I will ask that maybe at the next meeting, but I agree with that point. If we at least award the certificate and acknowledge that we probably will never get payment for those respective offices, but at least we'll have a record if those employees come before us with an alleged complaint that we have evidence to show that you should have known better because you've attended said training. If it is up to 2022, those same employees are actually going to be due for renewal next year anyway. So we will see them again to do the training.
Okay, Director, we'll be excited to hear your report next meeting on that. Any further discussion on that, Commissioners? Okay. All right. Dr. Jack still not here, so we can't go back.
He
That's-
did.
For
the record, Mr. Chair, Dr. Jack sends his regrets that he will not be able to attend.
Okay.
His procedure is still ongoing.
Okay,
Correct.
all right. So we'll just continue then with the remainder of our agenda. We're on item 6, right? New business. Item A, review and award RFP GET 004-24, media and video production. Director, you want to take us through that?
Sure, Mr. Chair. I'll go ahead and have this passed to Mr. Bergar, and he'll share with you the RFP dates, what was announced, unless... Okay. All right, so we'll take it away.
Thank you, Director. RFP number 004-24, Media and Video Production Services. We issued this on June 27, 2024, and proposal due date was on July 19, 2024, 4 p.m. We received 2 acknowledgement forms from 2 vendors interested in this RFP. When RFP closed, we received 1 packet, and packet was opened and reviewed by the team today.
Based on the evaluation, Mr. Chair, the evaluating committee made up of the 2 ethics investigators and the administrative assistant provided a recommendation to award the RFP to vendor A, which was the sole offerer for this RFP. And our request now is for the commission to approve and award RFP number 004-24 to vendor A and begin negotiations.
Is this the same vendor that we have now currently, or is this a new one?
We currently don't have services for media and print, so this will be a new vendor we will engage in. But the offerer is an established vendor in the community that has done other works
You can't name them now
until it's
done.
accepted.
I
Yes.
see.
So if we only had one response, we can go ahead and act on that? We don't
You
have to
can.
put it out?
What will happen is like in the other RFPs, I think RFPs 1, 2, and 3 also had single responses. And the action to take today would be to award the RFP to vendor A and to authorize the commission staff to begin negotiations and execute the contract.
Okay, thank you.
So just to reiterate, based on their evaluation, the committee had found that the vendor was compliant and responsive to the RFP. So they've met all of the minimum requirements as stipulated in the RFP, and they're an established vendor in good standing.
Can I ask you to tell us once again, or refresh our memory about what this agency or company is going to do?
Of course. So the RFP that was announced asked them primarily to produce up to six or more vignettes that we will incorporate into our online ethics training. So these will be mini videos or short videos that discuss situations of ethics and how to respond to a similar situation. And then we've also expanded to print services. So the commission desired to have posters and other self-help information. We've asked interested vendors to provide us with a new and non-template based formatting of print materials and other media campaign related items that we can share with agencies about tips to help employees manage their ethics or maintain the professional code of conduct. And I believe logo creation was included in the RFP too, to provide some mock-ups of what draft logos the commission can review and eventually select. Okay. This RFP also, for the record, is for a period of 1 year with the option to extend for 4 additional years. So if the funding continues into the next fiscal year, we can still continue with the services of the awarded vendor to produce the items that we've stipulated in the RFP, subject to availability of funds.
Are you guys going to be the actors?
I think we put in the RFP that they're to provide
Actors.
the talents. Yes.
Oh, Chris wants to do it.
We, yes, of course, the commission holds that authority. If you wish to insert yourselves in the
Curious.
content, you're welcome to. But yes, excellent questions, and that outlines. We also provided in the packet a copy of the RFP, and we can highlight for you what page indicates all of the categories
Services.
that we require.
Great. Glad you're moving forward on it.
I move to award RFP number GEF 004-24, Media and Video Production Services.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously, Director. Item 6B, review and approval of draft Guam Ethics Commission resolution relative to petitioning the Guam legislature for a continuing appropriation. That's just because we have too much money in the account, right? Versus the report?
Sir, I think you've heard through my director's report that I can neither confirm nor deny said money exists. But to give you a little backstory, when we were developing the agenda for publication a week ago, I had included this request and even drafted as the draft resolution to make such requests to the legislature. What occurred after developing this and beginning my argument to request for it, just to share, a continuing appropriation is necessary because what is awarded to the commission in as far as the budget has finite time to be used, and that typically starts October and then ends September the subsequent year. If we don't spend any money, or if we don't spend all of the money, what is unspent gets returned to the general fund. A continuing appropriation is authorization for us to utilize any unspent funds until they're fully expended. So it, in essence, gives that renewed life to still use it. Now, this was the original goal until I watched the special economic service meeting at the legislature, and it was the governor's representative that said the revenue collections for the government is very healthy. In fact, June just posted an excess of $10 million collected in the month of June, which is typically a low revenue collection month. They decided the governor was not going to resubmit her budget request and left it to the legislature to decide how to appropriately fund the agencies. But that if you account for all months starting October 2023 to today, there's over $100 million that were collected in excess of what they anticipated to collect. Good news for the government. That means they can fund agencies. The request that was made was that the legislature stop the practice of continuing appropriations. And thus, my request is to not take action on this resolution because I believe in my understanding of the conversation in public record, this request is probably a non-starter with the legislature because they have now been flush with cash. They're trying to keep the funds within their respective fiscal year, which is easier for audits because then they have closed the books completely on everything that was collected and expended, and then they can account for what's left over. If there's a continuing appropriation, it becomes tricky to continue to use those funds when the cash might not be there or hard to find. So I'm going to, unless the commission has questions, as much as I enjoy the draft resolution I wrote, I will ask the commission not take action on this resolution, as I understand that this probably will not be supported at the legislature.
But will they, do you think that it's going to get straightened out with the new financial system before then? I mean, otherwise, maybe we should do it just in case.
That's a great point, and I considered that. You know, fortunately for the commission, because of the autonomy, we have abilities to procure internally and obligate those funds. As long as we can obligate the funds before September, DOA has allowed for closeout to be sometime post-October. So if we can receive those items, we'll work diligently, and we might have a little more gray hair, but we'll do our very best to make sure that what resources we do have available will be expended before the end of the fiscal year. And the just in case, ultimately, it was reconfirmed that that probably was going to be a non-starter at the legislature. So, but it does link to item B or C on the agenda. Yes. So if there's nothing further for that, I don't know. Maybe a motion to set aside item B under new business. Set aside or table, just so.
Okay, can I get a motion to table item 6B, the review and approval of the draft Guam Ethics Commission resolution relative to petitioning the Guam legislature for a continuing appropriation.
I'll second the motion to view, to table, item 16 for review and approval draft. Yeah, that's, relative to the petitioning Guam legislature for a continuing appropriation.
And I will second it.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Director, item 6B has been tabled. Item 6C, the review and approval of the draft Guam Ethics Commission resolution relative to amending the fiscal year 2025 budget request for the Guam Ethics Commission. Director, you want to take us through that?
Of course. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as a caveat to the earlier discussion that we won't receive a continuing appropriation, I wanted to approach the commission if it would desire to amend its initial budget request to include funding of that vacant ethics investigator position. This would mean that we're amending our budget request to be slightly higher than what was originally proposed in January. And for the commission's back information, we're required to transmit the commission's budget request in January. Since January, we now have 7 months of data to show what is the real revenue collection for the government, and it appears to reveal that sufficient resources are available to support agencies in areas that it has not been supported. So I can speak that GMH, GDOE, University of Guam, they all have come up with areas and articulated where they were underfunded, and the legislature has been receptive to them because now the resources are available. So I wanted to go back to the commission and say, we deferred on the selection and hiring of the vacant investigator one position in order to stay within our means based on the revenue collections the government has had up to January. But now that the picture has become a lot clearer that there may be additional resources available, I wanted to revisit this budget and request the commission's support in amending its budget ask to include funding for that ethics investigator one position in the fiscal year 2025 budget. I did the numbers, and originally the commission was asking, if you give me a second, to just give you a cursory. There we go. All right. So in FY 2024, our current appropriation level is $531,080. In January, the commission had requested for $552,680 as part of its 4% organic growth. And now I would like to request to fund this position to raise the commission's request to $614,471, which is a variance of $61,791, 11% change, and that covers for this employee's salary and benefits starting Q2 of fiscal year 2025. So I think it's still a reasonable request and does take into account the length of time it requires for us to announce the position, receive applicants, vet those applicants, interview, and make a selection. So if the award is given and we can continue with the search, we expect to announce this position soon and then go through the vetting process with the start time of about January 2025. So my request to the commission is to adopt the draft resolution that you see in your packet and to include that the new request for the Guam Ethics Commission for fiscal year 2025 is $614,471.
And then just to be clear, Director, we already approved for the ethics investigator position one, right? We just never tried to fill it because of the funding levels, for example, and because we were trying to stay as conservative as possible.
Yes,
Yeah.
to share, the position exists and it was filled. If you recall, we had a summer employee, Christian Valencia, that did the study for us. When he vacated the position, we never refilled the position due to funding. Right, so it remained vacant, unfunded. So we do have the 5 lines total of full-time equivalent positions for the commission, but we've only filled 4 to maintain our current spending pattern. This request is to now fund the 5th position that has always been on our staffing pattern, but we've deferred because of the funding levels we have.
Okay, do we have any questions, any discussion from the board? Okay, I'll go ahead and move to adopt.
Chair.
I'm sorry?
Before the motion, would you like for me to read the resolution on the record?
Sure.
And this will be assigned as resolution number 2024-004. This is relative to amending the fiscal year 2025 budget request for the Guam Ethics Commission. Whereas the Guam Ethics Commission was established in Chapter 15, Title 4, Guam Code Annotated, primarily to adjudicate complaints filed against elected officers, appointed officers, and public employees of the government of Guam for violating the ethical code of conduct. And whereas in May 2021, members of the Guam legislature heard and debated Bill 85-36 relative to affirming the independence and autonomy of the Guam Ethics Commission. The bill passed unanimously by the body and was later enacted as Public Law 3628 by Governor Lou Leon Guerrero. And whereas the Guam Ethics Commission is a vital government agency responsible for upholding ethical standards and promoting good governance in our island community. And whereas the Guam Ethics Commission plays a crucial role in maintaining public trust by enforcing ethical standards for elected officials, along with all persons employed by the government of Guam. And whereas the Guam Ethics Commission has demonstrated its commitment to fulfilling its duties by providing timely and effective guidance on ethical issues and enforcing penalties for violations of the Ethics Code. And whereas at its regular meeting held on July 25, 2024, the Commission found that it desired to request additional support beyond the current level of funding, strategically pursuing advancements in key areas such as the adjudication of ethical complaints against public officials, the conduct of ethics training for government officials, and an increased awareness on the ethical code of conduct across the government on behalf of the public. And whereas the budget request for fiscal year 2025 will empower the Commission to enhance the online ethics and government program, allocate resources for promoting the Guam Ethics Code throughout the government, and establishing a conflict council to assist the Commission in resolving complaints when both the legal and prosecutorial councils face conflicts. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Commission affirms through a vote of 4 more members its adoption of the amended fiscal year 2025 budget request in the amount of $614,471 to meet its statutory duties. And be it further resolved, the Commission directs its Executive Director to transmit on its behalf this resolution and all requested budgetary forms detailing this request to the Honorable Joe S. Augustin, Senator and Chairman of the Committee on Appropriations and General Government Operations, y mi la 37 na legislatura en Guam. And be it further resolved that the chairperson of the Guam Ethics Commission certify and attest to the adoption hereof, and that copies of the same be transmitted to the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero, y Magahagin Guahan, the Honorable Joshua F. Tenorio, y Segundo na Magalahin Guahan, the Honorable Teresa M. Talahi, Speaker, y mi la 37 la legislatura en Guahan, and the Honorable Joe S. Augustin, Senator and Chairman of the Committee on Appropriations and General Government Operations, y mi la 37 la legislatura en Guahan, passed and adopted by the Guam Ethics Commission on this 25th day of July, 2024.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2024-004, or to adopt it, I should say.
I'll second the adoption.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We've adopted resolution number 2024-004 relative to amending the fiscal year 2025 budget request for the Guam Ethics Commission. Thank you, Director. Any announcements? Item 7.
Sure. Mr. Chair, I just have one in setting the next meeting for the commission. We are aware that we have 2 commissioners that will be away on travel for the month of August. So I would just like to request if there is a particular date in August or if the commission was to meet in September instead.
As for me, I would be available to meet anytime before the 19th. I know it's kind of soon, but I'm going to be, traveling around and going to my daughter's wedding and stuff, so I couldn't do it after that.
For me, it's kind of up in the air, but I would try to make it either way through Zoom. I won't be back on island until 12th or 13th of September.
Wow.
That's what retirement gives you, baby.
Wish I could say the same.
You will one day.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about kind of the cases, right?
Yeah, that's why.
That's the only thing. I mean,
Just give us a couple dates, and I'm going to be, anyway, I should be able to make myself available.
well, the last Friday in August is the 30th. Shannon, you be back by then?
I'm supposed to arrive back, I think, on the 28th.
28th?
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully
night.
you're not, still needing a recoup time, maybe?
Maybe I could do Zoom or
Okay.
something. Yeah.
And then we'll try to gauge Commissioner Daphne and Commissioner Meg. I'm sorry, and Commissioner Mar, excuse me. And then Commissioner Dr. Jack as well.
16th. The week of the 16th might be a little difficult for me, but other than that, I guess just giving us the proposals and I'll see what I can work around my schedule.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and pencil in the 30th then.
Yeah.
At least for our, for our team to prepare and
Yeah.
then to kick out the public announcement.
Yeah.
Right. So
I think it works.
yeah, will that work, Director? Did you need anything further on that or?
No, that should be fine, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so commissioners, let's go ahead and pencil in our next commission meeting for Friday, August 30th. Same time, same place?
I would probably ask if we can push it like an hour earlier because of time zone difference.
Okay.
It'll be my 10 something at night. So if we can push it back to like 11:30, that put me at 9:30, and I can maybe function then.
Just for you, Madam Vice Chair, just for you.
If you need me, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that, Director. Commissioners?
We serve at the pleasure of the commission, so if that's the will of the majority, we'll schedule it for that.
Okay, so just stay tuned for information on our next general meeting. But yeah, we'll look at that Friday, August 30th date.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other announcements?
Yes, Mr. Chair, one last thing is we do have confirmations for at least the 3 members attending here. But we do want to firm up our COGO delegation members because we want to avail of the early bird registration rate.
Oh, okay.
So if I could ask the commissioners who would like to confirm so we can begin the processing of the request.
Confirmed.
What are the dates again?
December 8th through the 13th, so the conference
In
begins
Illinois.
on Vice Chair's birthday. 8 to 11.
So yeah, but we're flying out of here at 7.
Correct. You would typically leave a day before.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll go ahead and attend. I think it's going to be worthwhile considering you're a panelist. This Kogo conference. I think that'll be so cool. I'm gonna make sure my phone is charged to take pictures and videos, all kinds of stuff.
I'm excited that they'll be bringing out a birthday cake for me. It's a big
Oh,
one.
is your birthday?
what birthday?
December 8th,
December
65, baby.
65.
Medicare, baby.
65. Woo!
And alive.
Yeah, look at that. Okay.
Right?
Yes, I would like
think
to
we're-
go.
great.
Yeah.
I will confirm with, Commissioner Leon Guerrero, I know you're still on the line. Will you also be available?
On August 30th. Oh, sorry, for Kogel?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, I should be able to.
Great. I will communicate with the remaining two commissioners if they should also be available, but I thank you for sharing that information with us. And that would conclude our meeting today, Mr. Chair.
Great.
Okay, thank you. If there's nothing further, can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. I don't think we need to vote. Meeting adjourned at 1:56 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.